Mr. Speaker, the Reserve Bank Act.
Honourable Dr. Jonathan Collins.
Mr. Speaker, what a shocker of a day it's been for Labor. You know, Labor had a great chance this afternoon for their leader to get up and make a real impact in this House. And what did he do? The one question he had, he withdrew. And I think there would have been major disappointment amongst the grassroots Labor Party membership out there to see the Labor caucus performance in question time today. And I tell you what, if it's not time for a change of Labor leadership, there never will be. And my advice to people over there, they've got to grasp the nettle and get on with the tough decisions. It has not been a good day for Labor online either, because we had Mr Shearer's online chat today. And I'm sure Labor supporters, that dwindling number throughout New Zealand, would have been looking for some real substance. Well, here it was. Clint, he asked Mr Shearer, how do you get New Zealand out of debt without selling assets, raising tax or taking away the few benefits that middle-class New Zealanders receive? Mr Shearer says we need to grow the economy, and that needs pro-growth tax reform. And then Sally asked, well, what do you mean by pro-growth tax reform, Mr Shearer? Mr Shearer said, the big change we would make is a capital gains tax. So that's the answer. On one hand, if Labor in government with New Zealand First, we're going to have the exchange rate fixed, and then the big answer is going to be capital gains. Well, I can tell you that is not, that is not going to be what gets New Zealand going ahead. What is going to get the country going is sound economic management and the sort of leadership that John Key is bringing to the country. And if you look at that online poll, I'm sure the Labor Party will have seen it today, 1,800 readers of the Herald. Who would you be voting for? 49% National, 22% Labor. They are on course for an absolute shocker. And so when we see the sort of theatrics we're getting from Trevor Mallard and co in the House today, you can tell that those people over there have lost the plot. Meanwhile, what we're focusing on is solid performance in the economy. Unlike Labor, who were supporting the crazy Green Bill, banning the sale of all land to overseas owners, a bill that would have really severely dented our economy, sent terrible signals overseas. Unlike them, we are getting on and encouraging investment into New Zealand, into making sure we've got the capital in this country to grow the economy. And a good example, if the Labor Party had been in charge, none of these decisions would have been made. So you wouldn't have had the Japanese investor who fronted up with the capital to save 60 jobs at Terrace Downs Estate in Christchurch. No, the Labor Party, they opposed that. You wouldn't have had the American non-profit organisation, which purchased 15 hectares in Richmond and have produced jobs in construction, tourism, and made sure that the people working there have maintained their jobs. No, that would have been gone under Labor because they supported that ridiculous Green Bill that would have banned sale of land to all foreigners. The carbon-conscious holdings in Kingheim Limited, they wouldn't have been allowed to purchase their forestry investments, which have produced jobs and growth in New Zealand. There wouldn't be any jobs from expansions and new projects by Tag Oil and Bathurst Resources. They would all be gone under Labor. So basically, when you look at it, what you're hearing from Labor is just rhetoric. Is opposed to anything that results in economic growth. And I challenge, I hope it's Mr Shearer who gets up next, to actually say what the Labor Party would do to grow the economy. And Mr Shearer today, he was asked some very straight questions during his online chat. He was asked what his stance was on decriminalisation of cannabis. David, yes or no, are you for decriminalisation of cannabis? I'm not making policy on the hoof, said Mr Shearer. Mr Shearer couldn't even say whether he was against our young people being able to smoke marijuana or not. Well, I can tell you, on this side of the House, we are pretty clear-cut on that stuff. I oppose the decriminalisation of marijuana because what you know what it does to our young people. They are now trying to conflate the argument and move it off the agenda. But what I can say is the Labor Party is opposed to anything that means jobs or growth for New Zealanders. And New Zealanders know that. New Zealanders know that the path ahead is the very sensible course that John Key has got this government on. So, Mr Speaker, I think the argument's pretty clear-cut. I think it's being reflected at the polls. The path ahead is the sensible investment decisions which this government is encouraging. And what we're seeing from these people, we're seeing the support of policies that are going to lead this country down the gurgler. The case rests.
The Leader of the Opposition, David
Thank you,
Shearer.
Mr. Speaker. I just want to